दी प्रिंट के YouTube चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें और ताज़ा अपडेट्स पाने के लिए बेल आइकन दबाएं।
This cut the clutter is a little bit of navel gazing. What is navel gazing? When you are self-indulgent, you spend too much time thinking about yourself, contemplating yourself. So this is not personal navel gazing as in our business, the media business, because media business is everybody's business, and I'm sure many of you are talking about it because every day you see stories coming out of big media organizations cutting salaries, laying off staff, stopping products, stopping publications. It looks like the first thing that the pandemic has hit around the world, not just in India, around the world, is the news media business. And that is in principle easy to understand, and I will explain it to you. You might think as an honest, innocent media user that look, now there is so much interest in news, more and more people are reading, watching, listening, so these people should be very happy. Economics works the opposite way in any crisis. What happens in a crisis is when a crisis hits the economy, companies stop cutting their budgets, companies start cutting costs. And the first cost the companies cut is advertising. One, because it is seen as an elastic cost, it's not a fixed cost, you can cut it. Second, if the markets are bad, if nobody is buying your products, why should anybody be advertising? So advertising goes down and media suffers because the bulk of media's revenues come from advertising. So you've seen many things. I will not read up the entire list, and the list keeps changing as I speak. Maybe more will get added. So instead of me speaking, you will see some of the prominent names of this on the screen of organizations that have cut salaries at a large scale or have laid off people on a large scale or have stopped publications or products. And these include the biggest ones: the Times of India Group, Hindustan Times Group, Business Standard, NDTV, Quintillion Media, that is the publishers of Quint and Bloomberg Quint, that is Indian Express, my former employer and alma mater. I've spent 25 years of my life there in two spells. DNA has been shut down, Deccan Chronicle has shut down editions, Outlook has stopped publishing its print edition for the first time. So you see this happening all over, and if this is happening in the most prominent, well-endowed publishing houses, you can imagine what's happening in the state capitals, in the languages, and across the country, because India has nearly 900 TV channels, of which about half are news channels, and thousands of newspapers of various kinds. But everybody is in crisis. If Bennett Coleman of India, the publishers of the Times of India Group, Times of India, Economic Times, Navbharat Times, Times Now, Mirror Now, India Times, everything, the big daddies are in trouble, then everybody is in trouble. So that is the situation right now. So let me try and declutter for you in a few minutes the economics of media and why media is in such a mess, and why this mess will keep on visiting the media, while from the outside it looks like everything is hunky-dory. Everything is not hunky-dory. So let us first look at the size of the media business. Let me not give you big figures. You can always check that. You can go to the INS website, Indian Newspaper Society, which represents India's print publications, or any of the broadcasting sites, and you can get those figures, and many companies are listed. But for comparisons, let me look at India's largest news media company. Not just India's largest, but among the world's largest. That company has the largest selling newspapers in the world in English language. That is the Times of India Group. Now, Times of India Group's total turnover is just about 10,000 crore rupees. 10,000 crore rupees today is just over $1.5 billion. If you want to see comparisons, corporate comparisons, this is one of the world's largest media companies, a big powerhouse. So much so they might have contemplated at some point buying up Financial Times of London. Turnover is only $1.5 billion. Just for comparisons, look at a company like Hero MotoCorp, which is also a big advertiser in the same group. And everywhere. Hero MotoCorp, which is not India's oldest company, it is not India's biggest company, not like Reliance, but even that is more than 3 times the size of Bennett Coleman Group, that is India's dominant media publishing house. Profits. In a good year, Times Group's profits were about 680 crores. In fact, 681 crores, that is 2018. 19, they've come down because then economic decline had started. And we said as economies decline, the first thing the companies cut is advertising budgets. So your revenues come down, but your staff salaries remain where they are, your newsprint costs remain where they are, your fixed costs all remain where they are. So 681 crores in 2018-19. Just compare that with a relatively new company like, say, Havells. Havells is the company that makes electrical goods. You see Havells fans and great ads they have all the time, and they are big advertisers in Indian news media. Havells turnover is a little bit less than Bennett Coleman, but profits in the same year was 768 crores. So Times of India is among the most profitable news media organizations in the world. And yet, a fairly new kid on the block in electricals business has higher profits and at a slightly less turnover than them. So media is not a hugely profit-making business, even for market leaders. And if this happens with market leaders, what happens with the rest? So we are talking business models. Let me start with something that I know best of all, or maybe least worst of all. That is print media, because I worked in print for a very long time. As I said, 25 years in the Express in 2 spells, 12 years in India Today, all done for print. In the Express, in my second spell when I was the editor-in-chief for 19 years, for 13 years out of those, I also functioned as the chief executive officer of the company. So I got to look at the economics very carefully and manage it very closely. Now, if you look at a newspaper, what is a newspaper? A newspaper that you get in the morning, say the Times of India. In good times, not today, in good times, Times of India generally on an average would be 48 pages. Average. Sometimes it can be more. So Times of India, HT, the big papers are about 48 pages. Now, how do you calculate the costs of a newspaper? And what do you pay for it? So you may be paying 4 rupees or 5, usually 4 rupees for leading newspapers, because they compete all the time for numbers. That mad race to the top, which I also see as the bottom, and I will explain to you why, continues. So you keep your prices at 4 rupees or 5 rupees. If you are selling that paper for 4 rupees, then the hawker takes his commission, the distributor takes his commission. There is also transportation cost. So roughly 40% of that goes in commissions and costs. So of the 4 rupees, about 2 rupees 40 paisa come back to the publisher. So Times of India Group may give you the paper for 4 rupees. You will pay 4 rupees. They will get back 2 rupees 40 paisa. How much does a paper cost? So forget all salaries, forget all electricity, travel, this, that. Sabko bhul jao. Think only paper, newsprint, and the cost of printing, which means running the machines, electricity that the machine consumes, and the ink. Ink also costs money. Just that cost today, or in fact it's been like that for about 10-15 years, is about anything between 20 to 25 paisa per page each side. That means if this is one page of a newspaper at 2 sides, it will be about 45 to 50 paisa. That is the cost. So if you have the cost of about 21 to 25 paisa per page, then your 48 pages have already cost you how much? They've cost you 12 rupees just to print on paper. So paper and printing costs you 12 rupees. Plus there will be extra costs, your overheads, your staff salaries, your journalists, your news gathering, your news agencies, you pay your contributors. If you add all that, maybe I'm being very conservative, maybe another 3 rupees. So paper that costs you 15 rupees, that costs the publisher 15 rupees is actually sold to you as the consumer for 4 rupees, of which the publisher only gets back 240. The publisher, it costs the publisher 15 rupees. So from where does the publisher get the remaining money? Because 15 minus 240, how much is that? You can calculate. That is 1260. Now from where does that money come? Because after that also the publisher makes a profit. We've just seen that Bennett Coleman of India makes about 600-700 crores profit in a reasonable year. That comes from advertising. So these papers are full of advertising. To get that advertising, they have to get the topmost circulation, because this is a winner takes all business model, which means if you are the market leader, you will get all the bulk of the advertising at the highest price. Then others will come and they'll pick up what is left. So it's a winner takes all market. Now, because you get that advertising and because you are the leader, it's a winner takes all market. You can set your advertising tariffs very high. And that's how you subsidize the reader, but you rip the advertiser. So advertiser pays too much, much more than the advertiser needs to pay or deserves to pay. But that's because advertiser has no choice. You, by keeping your prices low, dominate the market. So unless the advertiser goes to the market leader, there is no option. The brand will not be seen. And that is how the leading publication group of the country, Bennett Coleman Group, defined the print media market about 25, I'd say about 30 years back. Around time Sameer Jain took over the business operations and invitation pricing, etc. started. So cover prices were dropped. So it all became very cheap for the reader. The cost was subsidized and paid for by the advertiser. Now when the advertiser is hurt, when the economy is hurt, advertiser goes away, then where do you hide? Because once the market leader starts a model, others have to follow. So HT has to follow, the Express had to follow, everybody had to follow. The Express also, because it had greater confidence in its product. In fact, while I was there, we had consistently upped our cover prices because we knew that our readers will pay more for the paper because they value the content in the paper. If you want to see a good example of that, that is the Hindu. And Hindu is a paper that also believes that people value its content. So they've consistently upped their cover prices. So Hindu is 8 rupees, 10 rupees, on Sundays even more than that. And with each increase in cover price, the circulation of Hindu has not gone down. Actually, it has gone higher, which confirms once again to me my central belief that there is no contradiction between good journalism and the marketplace. But it is a distorted market, and market has been distorted by the market leaders, and those chickens are now coming home to roost. Now, I've explained this to you. Look at News TV. If you look at News TV, that model is so broken, I don't even need to spend time explaining it to you. News TV, everybody in News TV except the leading language channels, say 2 or 3 leading Hindi channels and 1 odd or 2 leading channels in each language, all others make losses. Maybe the only one that makes a genuine profit in English is the business channel of the TV18 group, that is CNBC TV18. All the rest, either their Hindi operations subsidize English or other things subsidize English, or many of these are run for other reasons. Also, as I explained to you, media is a very small business. If Bennett Coleman is $1.5 billion in turnover, you can imagine what other companies are like. Most other companies are below $1,000 crores per year. In fact, those are also big companies. The medium-sized companies that you are familiar with, I will not name all of them, but they are usually in the 100 crore, 300 crore, 500 crore turnover. So they are actually not even mid caps. They are like micro caps. They are very small companies. So what happened when the last crisis came, 2008-9, then a lot of people realized, people who were in other businesses, people were in mining, that was the mining boom period, 2007-8 era of excess. It was also the real estate boom. So too many people who were mining barons, real estate wallas, they said, "Arey Baba, ये मीडिया लोग क्या समझते हैं, ये तो बड़ा सस्ता बिजनेस है." So either they acquired some defunct or losing media companies, or they set up their own media companies. So as I always say, real estate in the country realized that you can buy fourth estate very cheap. So they set up their own fourth estate. That's why you find Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha, all these states with a lot of mining activity, resource activity, and also then big cities with booming real estate. Many of these barons started media organizations, and then it was very convenient, because you set up a TV company, give it whatever name, get a license. It was easy. Then you hire the best journalists as editors, pay them top dollar, give them Mercedes cars, which they cannot get in other jobs in conventional media organizations, because you are not particularly running this media company for profits. This is a tiny part of your larger business. You are just running it because it's a force multiplier. It opens the doors for you. And then you have some kind of an annual event. At that annual event, the Prime Minister comes, the Chief Minister comes, anybody who matters to you comes in your other businesses. And when such and such person comes, your editor escorts him to the dais. So do you. Otherwise, you will never be able to hold your Chief Minister's hand or Prime Minister's hand and escort them to the dais. So this distortion came in. That distortion is also being shaken out now, because real estate is down, and mining, with all the mess that happened after 2008 between Supreme Court and the policymakers and the rest, mining itself has been in decline. So that is what has led to massive job losses all over the media. Now TV, the big problem with TV also is distribution is cartelized. Again, just as you pay too little for your newspaper, you pay too little for your TV. You just pay a few ₹100 for every month, and you get a bouquet of so many channels. In fact, if you watch on your cable, they'll say you can get this channel for 50 paisa per month, this one for ₹1 per month, this one for 30 paisa per month, like that. You pay very little. And even when those operators take the money, they are cartelized. Very little goes back to TV channels. Third, TV business is again blighted, because unlike print, the same advertisers who advertise on TV news channels are also already advertising on entertainment channels and cricket channels, where viewership is much higher and the rates are much higher. So, for example, look at any product. Look at say a mobile phone, a Xiaomi or any of these popular Chinese mobile phones. If one of them is, or Xiaomi, I think one is called, if they are sponsoring, say, the IPL, then a lot of their advertising budget is consumed in IPL. They might still give some advertising to news TV media, but that will be at very low rates. So that is one problem. The second problem that arises with these also is that they get a very small share of what the distributors collect for selling a bouquet, because people in a bouquet don't necessarily pay for the news channels. They are paying for channels that they think they can't do without. That is Star Plus, that is Zee Entertainment, that is channels like that. In my case, I will also pay definitely for Hindi music channels, because those are the ones I watch at night between 9 and 12. Every day we watch a show called Raina Biti Jaye, which is a show of old retro Hindi film music on a channel called Sony Mix. That is also my detox from the kind of news TV we have, this madcap tutu meme debates where people fling things at each other. So that's also a broken model. Now all sins are forgiven and forgotten when the market is good, when the economy is good. But when the economy turns bad, then everything comes out in the open, and then all the warts are exposed. So COVID crisis has now exposed all the warts of Indian media business. Everybody is hurting and everybody is doing the best they can, or I would say again, the least worst they can to survive this, because everybody is fighting to live and fight another day. This is a matter of survival right now for the media. Now you will ask me, why am I not talking about digital? I'm talking about everything else. So digital, problem is in print, the user is paying too little. That means the reader is paying too little. On TV, the reader or the user is paying almost nothing, very little, much less than even print. For digital, the user is paying nothing because the way digital has been set up, the user has got used to using digital media but not paying for it at all. And even when advertising gets onto digital media, it gets onto digital media through intermediaries. So it gets onto digital media through Google, through Facebook, through Daily Hunt, YouTube, where you will find this show as well. In fact, you will have it on Facebook as well. In Shorts, Daily Hunt, all these. What happens is these are aggregators. They are the Oyo rooms or Airbnbs of the media. Just as they build no hotels, these companies create no content. But they take content from us and we are desperate for readers and they are a vehicle to get audiences for us. So they get audiences for us. They get advertising there, but of which we get maybe a tiny fraction, a tiny fraction. That's why most of the digital media across the world also is now broken. The countries or societies where it is finding its feet, say in America now, say in Britain now, is where people are realizing the value of good journalism. They know that they don't read it on physical newsprint, they read it on the web, essentially on the phone. They are realizing and they are accepting that they should pay for good journalism. That's why New York Times, Washington Post, Financial Times, Economist, Wall Street Journal, they are doing so much better. Politico, you see a lot of these organizations and in many parts of Europe as well. These are not foundation funded non-profits. These are for-profit companies. Once again, because the principle is, as I stated earlier, there is no contradiction between good journalism and the marketplace. Now, you ask me, why am I doing this now? The print, what is the print's business model? When people ask me, I tell them, and I find out, I will tell you. But once again, the principle is the same. And we believe that right now, until now, we've been free. We are going to be about 3 years old. I am hoping now that you will see value. So initially, we are going to put out an appeal for you to start paying voluntarily as if you were subscribing for us. We are not going to stop you from watching, reading anything because you are not paying. But once again, we know that you are good people, you value good journalism, you value good content, you know that it costs money, you don't want us to cut salaries of our staff, you want us to hire good journalists, treat them with dignity, keep them secure, give them good working conditions. So please do learn to pay for it as time passes. So once again, we will not arm twist you, never, but we will put out an appeal and we hope that once again that the market will reward us for what we are doing. Now, people might ask me, what is it that will change with COVID? That's a question about everything. So I can tell you one, newsrooms as they exist today will be completely reimagined. So the manpower strengths we have, technologies we have, they'll be reimagined because many things will become unsustainable. Two, today's business models are broken, new business models will come, and the essential to that will be exactly what's happened in the Western world. Smart people, good people, people who value independent, unbiased journalism and democracy will begin paying for journalism just a little bit. It costs nothing, just a little bit. In any case, it will cost you about less than what it costs to go see a movie on a multiplex. That much you can do for good journalism. Then people like Google, YouTube, Facebook, etc., etc., etc. They will have to learn to share more with content creators because content is king and content is a king that lost its way. It will come back because we now find Europe, Australia, in many countries now, Google and Facebook are being made to pay for content. It's a matter of time before it happens elsewhere also, including in India. And it should happen because it costs money to create good content. But it will not happen unless a new compact comes up or a new contract comes up between good journalism and the audiences. So good journalism and the marketplace, audiences make the marketplace. They have to find a new social contract that will save good journalism, not only save it, that will also make it prosper. So once again, I said I'm doing navel gazing today, so it's been a little more than navel gazing. I hope you find sense in what I'm saying.